Stargates. So let me look over here and see what our title is. Was there a Stargate found in Egypt long ago that is in use today? I think that's a fair enough question. I really do. And actually, there's lots of talks about Stargates. There really are. You may not hear them because maybe they're like hush hush. Nobody wants to really get that out in the open. But there's movies about Stargates and all of that. So right here, this thing down here at the bottom, let's look at this because this was discovered by a Russian long ago. Right here, let's look at the symbols on it. I don't know what they are. I really don't. I have no idea what these symbols mean. Maybe I do in another lifetime and I just don't remember, you all. Maybe I just do not remember. Hello there, Applebrooks, honey. I don't remember. But it looks pretty ominous looking. It looks like it belongs in a movie. It really does. Whatever these characters are used for, perhaps somebody recognizes this. Let's look over here. So I did a search. We can look at the screen. Photos from Soviet Stargate World 1, alternativehistory.com. So I looked at this and I went over here. So we're here at alternativehistory.com. So we're going to put this in here if you're just tuning in. Yes, we are, because we like to put the links to everything that we share. Hello, Cupcakes by Xena. Is that Xena, Warrior Princess? Yeah. All right, that's okay. Yeah, so we like to share. We do. Shahshah of Asa. I can't say it, you all. I cannot say this at all. So, Stargate at Giza, 1928. Success of Howard Carter discovering the Tutankhamun's tomb fueled interest in archaeology in the whole world. One of the Soviet archaeologists who, OTL, died during World War I. Who is OTL? I don't know who it is, but that's okay. Died during World War I. Professor Alexander Valentovich Maximov decided to make his own discovery and found a Stargate in Egypt. A few months later, it was brought to the Soviet Union, where studies about it began. You can see it looks like they got some old computers in here with this picture right here. You can see, look like really old. I guess they're like computer-like stuff. I don't know what they are. It looks kind of ancient to me, but this looks even more ancient. It really does if you're just tuning in. And I know there'll be a lot more tuning in later because that's what happens, you all. It is. That's right. So, yeah. So it's just Apple Brooks, honey, on the chat, and Cupcakes by Xena. You all, let me show you that chat. Let me show you so you all can see it. Look at that. I don't know why they feel the need to hide people, keep people from commenting, but I guess they do. I guess they don't like the subject of Stargates. They may not like the subject of Stargates whatsoever. You see what they did? Boom! They did something, but that's all right, you all. So we're looking at this. So it was called a dial-home device in Moscow, 1945. Wilhelm Filchner, during his second voyage to Antarctica, discovered DHD device, a dial-home device. Unfortunately, or for the human species, incredibly fortunately, he did not discover a second Stargate, rendering dial-home device largely useless for the Nazis during World War II. So this is right here. This is the first time I'm really looking at this right here. After the fall of Nazi Germany, General Schwarzkopf saw DHD, the Dalholm device, and reminded that he saw similar drawings in Moscow on a strange wheel, and he brought it to Russia and presented it as a gift to Stalin. This very thing right here is what I think they're talking about. Yeah, thank you all for joining in. This is what I think they're talking about. So, Svetlana Makova. I can't say their names right, but that's okay. October the 11th of 1900 to February the 4th of 1998. That's an awful long time to live. Chairwoman of the Experimental Design Bureau 1. So let's see, March of 58 through February of 1998. So there you got this experimental design. Markov of the Soviet Academy of Sciences accidentally dialed the Stargate on September the 2nd of 1946. She was also the first one to try the healing sarcophagus in the 1970s. So what is a healing sarcophagus? I've got to type that in. I'd never heard of that before. I really haven't. What is a healing sarcophagus? That sounds really interesting. Well, there's something called... Oh, well, we're going to click into this because this is what was done. She tried this healing sarcophagus, and they've got something about it in this wiki, this whatever fandom thing you all. They have a lot of information in here. So let's put this in here because we're going to look at this stuff. And it may not be too popular. It may be too popular and too informative to allow many people to see it. It may. So this right here shows up at around the 7-minute mark. Boom. Okay, that's all right. The 7-minute mark. Let's read about this. A healing sarcophagus. Let me pause this. What is a healing sarcophagus? Because this lady, this general, right here, tried it in the 1970s. So we're going to look at this. And a sarcophagus is a device that Gulag used to rapidly heal injuries and extend their lifespans. The device can also bring the recently deceased back to life. Despite the fact that the Gulag, we got to see what this Gulag, whatever it is, looks like. I don't know what it is. It's not that with the pinchers coming out of. That's disgusting. That's kind of gross. Oh, what is going on, you all? Oh my gosh, we have no right to play God, but neither do the Goag. Now I know none of this seems to be real. Pure evil. Okay, Goa'uld. Gold. Advanced race of aquatic symbiotes. So now we know we're talking about extraterrestrials, you all. We can talk about aliens. We can talk about advanced races of aquatic symbiotes from the planet P3X888 in the Milky Way galaxy. They took over their beings as a host, took complete control of their bodies, and most are known to be extremely egomaniacal, due to their genetic memory and are capable of living thousands of years. Well, that sounds like immortal. A species of conquerors, they were able to carve out a large empire, enslaving countless worlds, using their inhabitants as hosts, soldiers, miners, personal slaves, and they posed as false gods. However, a Jaffa uprising ended their reign. Bereft of power, the Goa'uld were forced to reevaluate their place in the galactic landscape. There's bound to be something. Oh, aha! You all look at these. Look at that right there. There's them right there. Symbiotes, so they can get in your body. They're like a symbiotic relationship. These are like parasitic. They're kind of like a parasitic thing. They get inside your bodies. And look at that. Never heard of them. water. They need they couldn't live in a body that was dried out, I wouldn't think, because it needs to have moisture. Okay, you all. That's all right. They ancient technology. Ancient technology. Oh, we're talking about. Oh, yeah. Is this all right? Because they're talking about Thoth and Ra in this Russian thing. So, and I've come over here to this place called Stargate Fandom. I think this is where the real history is, and I'm not joking. I really am not joking. Under the leadership of Atok, the Gould developed the first of their society as conquerors. They stole ancient technology and adapted it to their purposes. In 22,000 BC, Atok was killed by his son, Apep, and he recorded the leadership of the Gould. Apep shared power among his underlings, Ra, Nut, and Thoth. However, around 17,800 BC, another Gould began to rise in power, Anubis. Now, you all, let's think about this. These right here, they've got these beings, Anubis and stuff like this, powerful and most dangerous one in history. So we've got let's look at a picture of Anubis, because he's on the stones. He's on the stones. So how can this stuff be make-believe? Now look at this, you all. How can this fandom stuff be make-believe? I don't think it's make-believe at all. I think that's telling the history, is what I think it's doing. It's telling the history. So around that, Apep's powers began to decline in this time, and Anubis gained more power. Anubis then killed Apep, devouring the symbiote before the eyes of the Gould. However, Ra, the sun god Ra, so we got to look up Ra. Let's get an image of Ra, because Ra's also on right there. This is Ra. So we got Anubis and we got Ra right there. Anubis and Ra. Well, they look like one and the same, but they're not. One's got a head and one doesn't. Okay, so we got them. They're talking about them. All right. However, Ra managed to rally the others in Apep's name. After 3 centuries of civil war, Anubis was defeated and exiled. Ra organized a new leadership called the High Council of the System Lords. Ra installed himself as the supreme system lord of the Gould Empire and took Gould's queen Hathor and Agiria as mates. Living gods, Stargate system lords. They posed as gods. Oh, look at this. Humans, around 10,000. I hope that this is all right, you all, because this sounds like it's history, especially when you've got it engraved in stone and manuscripts and stuff, ancient mythology and stuff like that. There is something to this. Wow. So 10,500 BC, Ra discovered a healthy world with a primate race, humans, reseeded by the ancients before they left Earth. Ra took a young native as a host. He took his body. Revitalized, Ra began allowing other system lords to access the Tari. Some were used as worshippers and slaves in Naquata mines. Others were taken to Darkara, turned into a genetically altered slave soldier called the Jaffa, to serve as warriors and incubators for the larval Gould. And then you got a rebellion that ended the domain on Earth, and humans had already been seeded throughout the Gould Empire, so Ra felt no need to reconquer the planet. So let's look at this. Solidified his rule in ancient Egypt. They're talking about Cronus. Oh my goodness, you all. Cronus ate his babies. He did. He ate his children. And we're talking about the god Shiva. There's pictures of these, you all. I don't think they ever died. I really don't think they died. Do you think they died? I think they're still powerful today, even though they may not be in the form. There's statues and everything dedicated to them, you all. There's something going on. Yes, there's something going on. Let me get back to this. I know they don't like this, but that's okay. So they got Cronus. He created soldiers like Cronus and Shiva. Cronus and Shiva secretly rejected the idea of taking a lesser host, making excuses when questioned by Ra. They thought they were too good. Okay, so they just wanted to be gods and stuff like that. The end of a dark moment in their history soon approaches. Soon we will wipe out the scourge that plagues us. Apophis. The death of Ra, the systems of Lord. So, oh, y'all better click this in here. Stick this in here, you all, because we can do it. I know this may not be too whatever, but that's okay. That's what I feel led to share. So I'm sharing it. So, talking about this healing sarcophagus. And I was trying to get to it. Because it was some kind of device that could bring the dead back to life, is what it could do. Ancient healing technology. The Goads, endemic malevolent. They were malevolent beings and megalomaniacs. Heavy usage of it. And Torka do not use their technology. So we got these people. Yeah, they played around with that, but this woman right here in Russia, right here, Svilanta Markova, she was the first one to try a healing sarcophagus in the 1970s. Then we have Lavrenti Beria right here. Since the end of World War II, Lavrenti, Beria supervised the Stargate project. Second top priority after a nuclear bomb, ensuring that no one outside really knew what was going on in the secret facilities. So they had a Stargate project since the end of World War II. Did you all know that? There are conspiracy theories that Beria was not executed following the death of Stalin, but merely reassigned to rule over lands discovered by the OKB-1. So who is this person right here? Vels, a serpent god of Velisvogard planet in 1946. This is a serpent god right here. He looks like he's kind of mischievous. Look at that staff that he's got, you all. Yeah, hello everyone. The first attempt on crossing the Stargate, they discovered another planet, an Earth-sized with 150 million inhabitants, and most of the people lived in a feudal society under Vels, an identity worshipped as a god. This person was worshipped as a god. When he learned about the Soviets crossing the Stargate, he demanded a submission of all Earth's rulers to his power. Not willing to share power with another, greedy, ruthless entity in the universe, Joseph Stalin ordered a full invasion of Velisovgrad to be perpetrated by the Soviet armed forces. So do you think that they went through that Stargate and invaded an Earth-sized planet with 150 million inhabitants? Joseph Stalin ordered the full invasion. This doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. We're talking about a Stargate, and somebody's went through it and found a planet-sized thing. During the takeover of the planet, the Soviet Union, a sizable force of 1 million people, 5,000 tanks, 2,500 aircraft, numerous Katyusha rocket artillery launchers, and all the newest weapons, they were able to bring through the Stargate. With medieval era armies, the native population had no means to enforce effective resistance against the invaders, and with the next few months, the whole planet was placed under full Soviet control. Do you all think that actually happened? That's making me sweat. Operation Red Glory. I've got to see. They invaded this planet, you all. Through the Stargate. Let me get rid of Shiva. Let me get rid of Ra. Let me get rid of Anubis. Let me get rid of Magula. I wanna really type this in and see what's going on. I want to know what that is. Operation Red Glory in 1947. Let me tell you about this. 1947. Where am I? 1947 is when Admiral Byrd was supposed to have went to enter Earth. That's when the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Israel shortly thereafter became a nation. The Roswell incident happened. Now here we got this story, this account of the Soviets going through a Stargate, invading a planet of 150 million medieval people and conquering it. Oh my goodness, you all. This is the wildest thing I've ever heard. But listen to the timestamps. 1947 has a lot of stuff happened back then. It's like the world did a flip-flop and started boom. That's what it seems like. It really does seem like, you. That's right. It's like wild. It is so wild. It is so wild. Oh, I'm supposed to be over here to Operation Red Glory. I'm supposed to be typing it in. You ought to see if we can find Red Glory. Oh my gosh. Now look at this. Oh my gosh, you all, look at this. Look, in 1947, a high-altitude balloon crash landed in Roswell, and the aliens, look at this, Mac Brazo and his son Vernon were driving across, and they talking about this right here. 1947, a thing landing like that. I want to hear Operation Glory. Was an American effort to repatriate the remains of the United Nations Command casualties from North Korea to the end of the Korean War. No, I'm looking for something else. Operation Red Lightning. That's where we're going to find the truth, you all. We're going to go in there and we're going to find that they renamed it Operation Red Lightning. Let's read this, you all, because this is really wild. This is so wild. We got to read it. We do got to. I better put this search right here for you all to look into it too, in this live stream, because if the Soviets actually did go through there and they took all that stuff through that portal, that is wild. It is so wild. Where did I get over here? Did I go over here? No, I really want to come over here and look at that. Look, they even have a movie, West to Glory. Oh my goodness gracious, you all. We got to go look at this. Operation Red Lightning. Now what's this about? We don't want to see the dinosaurs. No, we're going to see this. By 1946, the Axis had the far greatest military technology of all blocks. They were so advanced that the Allied High Command realized they would certainly lose the war unless something could be done. They put the highest priority stopping the Blutskurzkorps, the Axis scientific change. We got Captain Joe Brown. Where are they at? I want to know. June the 46th, 300 commandos parachuted into a castle. What castle? They're talking about castles. And Sigrid von Thaler orders to capture the Baron and any valuable thing. Who is this place, you all? I don't even know where this stuff is at. VK, under the immense power. Now, okay, let's see. Now with his death, the Blutskurzkorps find themselves struggling to devise a new, inventive ways of utilizing the immense power of VK. What is VK? I want to know what a VK is. The Vril! Oh my goodness, it's the Vril. They are talking about the Vril, a source of energy that enhances explosives, serves as fuels, exhibits other unusual properties, includes strengthening and lightening metals. The VK's natural color is an ether blue, white, or red-black, and exhibits properties akin to radioactivity. I didn't hear of that. I didn't know the Vril was also considered like VK. Did you? I know the Vril was considered VK. That's kind of wild right there. It really is wild. Wow, look at them. These scientists analyzing what seems to be a VK ore. Wow. Blue and red, the purification. Even in this thing, right? Look, they're talking, it's a minuscule crystal. The Second World War. The Second World War. It's a miracle power source that has become the driving force behind the technologies of the Second World War. So it's a minuscule crystal, only several microns across. So we've got this lady right here. I don't think they're talking about him. We got this lady who, since the end of World War II, Beria supervised a Stargate project. So, Stargate project. We got this man who ruled this planet because somebody went through with 150,000 inhabitants, and I just had a deja vu of doing this right now. I did. Just right now doing this. They went through the Stargate, and they wanted to get rid of this ruthless ruler, so they invaded. They took all of their stuff, you all. 1 million people, 5,000 tanks, 2,500 aircraft, numerous rockets and artillery launchers, and they conquered it. They totally conquered it. This thing is wild, and I'm trying to find something on that red glory. Of course, we're not going to find it. We're not. We're going to find all this other things. Operation High Jump. They're going to Antarctica. So what if this world was in Antarctica? Do you think it was in Antarctica? Really, could it had been in Antarctica? If you think about it. Because August the 26th of 1946, Operation High Jump was launched in Antarctica. 13 ships, 4,700 personnel. But see, we don't got any history of the Russians there. Something's missing, you all. Something is missing from all of this right here. They really are. Let's look at the rest of this. So, Shahashana of Asana, I don't know who that is. People of this place, Velisovograd, had been living their traditional lifestyles for tens of thousands of years until the Soviets' arrival in 1946 changed everything overnight. Atheistic and powerful men from the other side of God's will began preaching their new styles of living. Family-based units subjected to the feudal overlord were organized into village communes governed by local party secretary. Education was taken by something invaders called the people's government, reorganized into public schools where children were taught script, more advanced mathematics, and other things unheard of on the planet before. What planet are they talking about? Do you think they're talking about Earth and they're not saying it? Do you think they are? Because that would be really wild if they were. If they came through the Stargate. But what if the Stargate that they came through was really Earth, and they're not saying it was Earth. They're just saying something different because it already had inhabitants. This is the wildest thing right here. It really is. We've got these people sitting on their machines and stuff. Soviet-born Sovikov workers supervising local harvest. 1949. They got to supervise the local harvests. New ways of cultivating land often shocked the native population of Velisovograd, leading some to believe that the gods granted those men a divine wisdom or that they were gods. Regardless of that, the party officials preached strict atheism as a new way to create the new Soviet man. Construction of the first city of Velisovograd. Is that in Russia, you all? I gotta look that up. I really do, because this is too wild. You got a Stargate and you hmm. Oh, they don't like it. They don't like it at all. You can't find nothing on it. That's about right. Um, Soviet-born workers brought from Earth constructed the first city, Stalingrad. Are we in a parallel world, you all? Are we in a parallel world? Are we in another world or something? Because that kind of sounds like this planet. It really does. It sounds like this planet. Centered around the Velsovograds, later renamed to Lenivoka, Stargate. Urban workers from mainland Soviet Union brought new ideas to the native population, new ideas and fashion. It is Earth. Since childhood, the kids were taught to sacrifice their own self-interest for the construction of socialism and the Father Joseph beyond the God's Gate. Another Soviet pioneer brought on the new world was feminism. Despite being limited to the Stalingrad neighboring towns, it started great changes in the lifestyle of local people who, due to the lack of Christianity, remained with more female freedom than Earth's counterparts. So we have Nikolai Vozinski in 1948 to 19, premier of the Slavic Soviet Socialist Republic. 20 years ruled over the planet. Leninokva conducted collective programs, collective civilizations, supervised constructions of the first towns and cities, education of native population of the new Soviet Man project, introduction of healthcare, and the breaking feudal system in the world. Due to the sheer distance of the planet, most reforms were centered mainly around the city Stalingrad. Is that real? You all, I'm trying to wonder. I don't know what's going on with this. I really don't. This sounds wild. It sounds too wild at all, with everything. With a Stargate. See, look at this. Largely fertile region around the Stargate was extensively used by the Soviet agricultural planners to prevent mainland famines, achieve self-sufficiency in the food production. Very cheap labor of native population allowed enormous cost cuttings, improved standard of living, caused thousands of natives to apply to be employed by the Soviet state-owned farms. You know, I am confused with this, because this is, I don't know. Natural resources of Lenivoka, previously unknown to the native medieval population, allowed Soviets to increase their exports to cheap resources of Western countries, refueling the post-war construction. 1949, replacing labor shortages, mass casualties. Some of them, however, stayed in the Soviet Union and brought about divine realms back to their planet. Thousands of them, even the hardest, provided commodities. So this is, my goodness, you all. This sounds, what happened, Gina? Oh, great. How did I click out of that, you all? How on earth did I get out of that? I got to click back into it, because this is an article. If you all was just tuning in, this is like supposed to be some kind of history, that they conquered a planet. They came through on a planet with 1 million troops and conquered the planet. Let's get to here. So who is this? I don't know who this Hussein al-Radi. Does that look like Saddam Hussein? Hussein al-Radi. We're talking about Iraq now. Following an assassination of Abd al-Karim Qasim by Saddam Hussein, Iraq Communist Party seized power in Iraq. The Communist Party seized power in Iraq. Al-Radi followed the Soviet archaeologists to study the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia cities, officially for gaining knowledge about the history, secretly to find means to travel or Stargate addresses. Oh my gosh, you all, look at that. They're looking for Stargate addresses for other planets in the universe. Yeah, other planets in the universe. How we doing over here, you all? I'm just getting myself caught up. And this is one of the wildest, strangest things I've ever read. It sounds unbelievable. It really does. Yeah. So, we've got this place. The Giza cartouche with Abydos glyphs was not found by the Soviets during the 1920s. It was not. So Egypt, 3000 BC, I guess this is what Egypt was to look like. They haven't found any cartouche, if that's a cartouche, during the 1920s because a team, you all get this, get this. This is even wilder about the Stargate. They didn't find nothing during the 1920s because a team of Stargate KGBs traveled back in time to aid the human rebellion against Ra to hide the cartouche, or whatever it is, to preserve time paradox. That's really wild. Preserve time paradox. They traveled back in time. The KGB. Well, we got the Men in Black. I think those Men in Black are time travelers too. I really do. And you know how they do the movies, the Men in Black? My nose is itching. Okay, somebody's talking about me. How they have people look at that. They clean everything up. They make a mess. They clean everything up. And then everybody's memory gets wiped and everything looks normal. Everything looks normal. So the KGB, a team of Stargate KGB, traveled back in time and led a human rebellion against Ra. Wow. In Iraq. Ancient Mesopotamia city located in Iraq, where Soviets found a clay tablet with several glyphs that formed a Stargate address. Is this a movie, you all? Somebody tell me that this is not real. This is an alternate history. But I've heard of the land of and I've heard of ancient Mesopotamia. Oh my goodness. Hello there, son from the sun. This is the wildest thing. Yeshua, Messiah of Abrahamic people. Well, this is some kind of a woman. During their first intended mission, the 21st Department of KGB encountered a small problem. As it turned out, they landed on a planet inhabited by people claiming to be the descendants of biblical figures, Abraham, Enoch, and Elijah. One of them, Yeshua, which was apparently a female version of Jesus, claims to the promised one, the Messiah and the daughter of God, an ungendered person who took on a feminine appearance. Is this a movie? I don't know what I am reading at this point. I have no idea. They live in a communistic society, while eliminating the private one, all while believing in one true God, Yahweh. They also have a small armada of the children of God, incredibly advanced yet small, space navy designed to protect Yeshua's planet and colonies within their solar system. A secret operation to the outside world. Invading forces composed from people across the Soviet Union to ensure initial secrecy among the population. It's easier to hide the disappearance of a few hundred in 10 cities than few thousands in one cities. And the fact that Stalin was already a master of hiding millions of deaths in the Gulag or World War II. After their return, stories about the feudal war will spread, but I think it would be regarded just like the UFO sightings. When is this disclosure? You all, this is... Oh my goodness. Doesn't it seem strange to you that the gates were found in Egypt, open the way to the world ruled by the Slovenian god and not the Egyptian one? The Gulads are not the only Egyptian gods. Hathor impersonated Mesoamerican goddess. Yu was the first Chinese emperor. Cronus was the Greek one, while Neriti was the Hindu goddess, or Baal, the Canaanite god. There are other planets where Gula, I don't know what they are, do not rule or were expelled by their populations, and there were also rebellious Gulds. And there are other species in the Stargate universe. You all, this is, they maximize the planet's population to make an enormous army. You all can look at this because this is, I don't know. Look at this. Down here, this thing keeps going on. 1,000 warheads threshold to make Stargate revealed. Imagine when Americans are seconds before a lunar landing and you have Khrushchev proclaiming the Soviet Union made contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Deal with that, Nixon. As to Egypt, I think you're right. He would be held by the Soviets. But then the grim future, you all, what is all of this stuff? March of the thousands of German prisoners toward the Stargate complex in 1949, you all. This sounds so far-fetched. It sounds totally unbelievable. It really, really does. And but we live in a world where all this strange things is happening. We really do. Oh my gosh. The text is blurred. I don't got no text, you all. I don't. Yes. Oh wow, you all. Christopher Outlaw Honey. This is wild. I gotta get this one thing off of there. I don't know what that is. I want to go back over there, you all, because this is. They say this thousands of prisoner of war are marching toward a Stargate complex in 1949. 1 million German prisoners of war were sent through the Stargate to Leninvka to never return to Earth. While on the New World, they performed the majority of hard labor during the construction of Stalingrad neighborhood and mining operation. 700 million people died, while 300,000 decided to stay on the new planet after Stalin's death, constructed Wolfsburg, another city on the planet. Is this real? Was there really a battle of Uranda in 1962? Despite the obvious Nazi themes of Urandan Commonwealth, Nikita Khrushchev decided to aid the consul Ardalan in his quest of defeating the breeders on his planet. In exchange of several high-technology pieces, massive amounts of heavy water were sold, with parts of Soviet military forces assisting the Urandans in their war. During the next 3 years, surface of the planet has been cleaned of breeders and a new racial purity obsessed state arisen. Due to the secrecy of a Stargate program, the American Cold War strategists could only wonder how the Soviet Union achieved such sophisticated technological progress less than 20 years after the worst war in history. Look at this. This is a former German prisoner of war posing for a photo in Leninavoka, the place of future. Is this inside the Earth? Is this inside the Earth? Because look how massive that is. And if you like when they go inside the Earth, even like the land of the lost, they have these great big giant flowers and stuff like that, you all. Yeah. Great big gigantic flowers and things. Dwight Eisenhower criticized John F. Kennedy's administration for poor handling of the Cuban Missile Crisis and betrayal of West Berlin. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, early American efforts to take photographs of the Soviet nuclear missiles failed, and fact about their existence was revealed to Fidel Castro and Nikita Khrushchev in 1963. So they entirely blocked West Berlin from the west. Second Berlin airlift undertaken by the United States ended in a failure as the Soviets did not withdraw, as opposed to the 1948 blockade. See, why is this happening 1948? Because you got Admiral Byrd supposed to go to the center of the earth in 1947, and they got a 1948 blockade. When one of the American fighters shot at the Soviet interceptor, Khrushchev plainly announced that any military airplane over East Germany will be shot. Anti-aircraft artillery guided by the Soviet computers proved to be a nightmare for America air personnel. So, vice presidency, he made an attempt to succeed to defeat the Democratic governor of his home state, preparing to make a national combat. Patrice Lumumba, Prime Minister of the People's Republic in the Congo. I'm trying to see if this has anything to do with... okay, that's it, you all. That's it. We got this Stargate that they're supposed to found this Stargate, and this is Dow Home Device. And according to this alternate history, Soviets, they found this planet. They crossed into the Stargate and found an Earth-sized planet with 150 million inhabitants in a feudal society under Veles, an identity worshipped as God. So they had an Operation Red Glory. They say during the takeover of their planet, the Soviet Union used a sizable force of 1 million people, 5,000 tanks, 2,500 aircraft, numerous Katyusha rocket artillery launchers, and all the newest weapons, and they were able to bring them through the Stargate. So they had medieval-era armies. Native population had no means to enforce effective resistance against the invaders, and within the next few months, the whole planet was under control of the Soviet. So do you all believe that, you all? That's wild. It really is. Now I can get into Middle Earth. I can because that sounds, there's not too much stuff thrown into it. I can envision the Admiral Byrd in the Middle Earth, but this thing right here, that takes it all. It does. It sounds totally wild, but if you look at the movies, they have people going through these great big stargates, and they're fighting battles. Okay, they're fighting battles. They're going through wormholes with their ships. They're invading other planets. What was this planet? Was it John Carter? What was that? John Carter. John Carter. What is that? Was there a movie called John Carter? I'm trying to think if there was. I think he had to go. He went to another planet. Yes, he went to another planet, you all. Look at this. They say it's a science fiction thing, but he ended up on another planet. Look at that right there. That looks like the outline of the sun in the sky. He ended up on another planet with all these different people. So, according to them, they can dial this, they can use this thing to dial the coordinates other planets outside in wherever it's at. And they're going to go there. So is there really a space force? Is there like a galactic thing, a federation of planets? Is there all these other planets out there somewhere with all these different types of beings, or even people that look like us? Some who are much more advanced, or some who are less advanced. This is I don't know what to say. I don't. I really don't. Yeah. I don't. Is the KGB they got a Stargate force? Now I will tell you this. Now, speaking with a really good friend on the phone, it was years ago. It happened in Washington State. Her and her husband were in their vehicle, and it was snowing out. And they remember coming down this street in the early evening. My nose is itching again. In the early evening. And something crashed into this house. Right into the house. There were all of these emergency vehicles, fire trucks, all of these. There were soldiers on the roof, soldiers on the ground. And they were sitting there looking because they thought a UFO crashed into this house. But all of these big old emergency vehicles and troops showed up. They were on the house. Footprints all over the snow. And they couldn't get through that area of the street. So they went around and they went to their home. The next day, they went over there to see what happened. Nothing. Not one single footprint, no damage, nothing. Everything was cleaned completely up, just like the men in black. They could not believe their eyes. They could not. So there's something going on. And I don't think it's all science fiction at all. I don't. I think there is something big time going on, and a lot of people don't know about it. I've never witnessed nothing like that. I haven't. But it shocked them. Shocked them. There should have been footprints all over that place. She even turned on the news to see if they could hear it on the news. Nothing. Hush hush. Swept under the rug. Just like that. Hello, Jay Jocelyn, honey. Yeah, you are. So this is wild. And so I don't want to be on here much longer. I know it might get kind of tedious listening to somebody read. And I was unsure of what I was reading, whether it was real or not, because it sounds so way out there. And so could you imagine trying to give disclosure to people about something like that? Even for me, that's hard for me to digest. It really, really is. So could you imagine this, somebody who don't believe in UFOs or aliens or anything else? Could you imagine them telling the whole earth, everybody on the earth, oh, by the way, this is what's really happening? And people they wouldn't believe it. They would have to think, and it's too shocking to believe, because it's not something you hear, and out of the blue, boom, you hear all this shocking stuff. It's like when somebody's kept a secret from you, somebody you know has kept a secret from you for years and years and years and years, and you never knew the truth. And then all of a sudden, boom, they open it up and pour it all out on you, and you're standing there and you're just looking at them thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. And you're speechless. That's what it would be like. You would be there and you would be just totally speechless hearing something like that. Yeah. That's mass chaos. That's right. It literally would, because you would not know whether you were coming or going. You wouldn't know. Um, and then how do you continue to live your normal life when nothing would ever be normal again? Your reality would be completely shattered, just like that. And then you would be left to pick up the broken pieces of your shattered reality. If that day ever came, I would hope that you have lots and lots of people standing by your side and you don't stand alone. Yeah. Um, yeah, we can show that Inky and Enlil, because that's something that's written about, and people do talk about that. It's part of like a history. I never liked hearing it. I'm just going to tell you right now. When I first started out in 2018, and somebody started talking about a Inky as God and Enlil, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I cannot hear. I cannot believe you're saying that. That is blasphemy." I listened. I didn't want to. I listened, and then as the years went by, I still listened, and I read up and seen what they had to say, and I'm not shocked anymore, okay? So I've been desensitized to that. Yes, that's right. That's right, you all. I'm going to go. Thank you all for listening. Really, it takes patience at times to listen to something like that, because I don't think I would want to listen to it because it sounds so far-fetched. It does. But they wrote an article about that, the alternate history. Right here, I've seen pictures of this guy. I have, and he does. It's like, did you really invade a Earth? You went through a Stargate, and you know that they got Stargates, and we know that CERN is like opening up Stargates, opening up portals to other world. They want that alternative world. Is that alternative world that they want? Is it something like that right there? The another planet, an Earth-sized planet, just like Earth, with 150 million inhabitants. Is that what they want to open up? Something like that? Or did it already open and they didn't tell us? So yeah, where are we at, you all? I'm right here. I'm going to go. So with that being said, hello wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you all for listening. Even though this was very awkward and weird, it really was weird. Especially since I don't watch a lot of sci-fi. Yeah, and thank you, moderators. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Anything is possible in this crazy world that we live in. It is. Love you. Good night.